The invisible trap. Most people don't realize they are stuck. That's the most dangerous part. They wake up every morning, follow the same routine, scroll the same feeds, complain about the same problems, and call it life. Years pass. Potential fades. Dreams slowly shrink until they become excuses. And one day, they look back and ask a painful question. How did I end up here? The truth is uncomfortable, but necessary. 99% of people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they are trapped in invisible patterns they never learned to question. Today, I want to expose those patterns. Not to judge you, not to shame you, but to give you something more powerful than motivation: clarity. Because once you see the trap clearly, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you can break free. The biggest lie people believe about being stuck. Most people think being stuck means doing nothing. That's wrong. Being stuck usually looks like being busy. Busy working a job you hate. Busy planning but never starting. Busy consuming content but never applying it. Busy surviving, not building. You feel tired all the time, yet your life doesn't move forward. Because motion is not progress. You can run in circles for years and still end up exactly where you started. The system rewards comfort, not courage. And the mind loves comfort more than growth. That's the first pattern. Pattern #1. Comfort disguised as safety. Let me be honest with you. Your comfort zone is not safe. It's familiar, and familiarity feels safe even when it's slowly killing your potential. Most people stay stuck because their brain is constantly asking one question. How do I avoid discomfort? Not, how do I grow? Not, how do I become better? How do I stay comfortable? So they choose certainty over possibility. Familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. A job they hate feels safer than the risk of starting again. A toxic relationship feels safer than being alone. A mediocre life feels safer than chasing something meaningful and failing. The brain doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about survival. And growth always feels like a threat to survival at first. That's why most people confuse fear with logic. They say things like, I'm just being realistic. It's not the right time. I need more preparation. But deep down, it's not preparation. It's protection. Protection from discomfort. Protection from judgment. Protection from failure. And as long as comfort is your priority, growth will always feel optional. Pattern #2, waiting for motivation that never comes. Here's another hard truth. Motivation is not the cause of action. Action is the cause of motivation. But 99% of people get this backward. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel motivated. And they end up waiting their whole lives. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes based on sleep, mood, environment, validation, and emotion. If your life depends on motivation, your life will always be unstable. People who break patterns don't wait to feel inspired. They move while feeling afraid. They act while feeling uncertain. They show up while feeling tired. That's the difference. Stuck people ask, do I feel like doing this today? Free people ask, who do I want to become, and what does that person do today? Pattern #3, identifying with the past. This pattern is subtle but powerful. Most people don't just experience failure. They become it. I'm bad at learning. I'm not disciplined. I always quit. This is just how I am. That's just how you were. Your past is data, not a life sentence. But the mind loves labels because labels create identity, and identity creates consistency. If you believe, I'm not good with money, your brain will unconsciously make choices to stay consistent with that belief. If you believe, I'm unlucky, you'll stop noticing opportunities. If you believe, success isn't for people like me, you'll sabotage progress before it even starts. People stay stuck not because they can't change, but because they keep proving old stories right. And here's the dangerous part. The longer you repeat a story, the more real it feels, even if it's false. The real reason most people never break the pattern. It's not lack of intelligence. It's not lack of resources. It's not lack of opportunity. It's lack of awareness. You can't change a pattern you don't see. You can't break a cycle you think is normal. And society doesn't teach you to question patterns. It teaches you to fit into them. But the moment you pause, the moment you observe your habits, your reactions, your excuses without judgment, you create space. And in that space, change becomes possible. A question that changes everything. Let me ask you something important. If nothing changes, if you keep thinking the same way, reacting the same way, choosing comfort over growth, where will you be in 5 years? Same stress, same regrets, same unrealized potential. Now ask a different question. What would happen if, just once, you chose discomfort on purpose? Not chaos, not destruction, but intentional discomfort. Waking up earlier, doing the hard thing first, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what scares you. That's how patterns begin to crack. The forces that keep you trapped. If part 1 opened your eyes, this part will explain why even aware people still stay stuck. Because knowing the problem is not enough. Many people understand what's wrong with their life, but still don't change. Because there are forces working quietly against you every single day. Let's talk about them. The environment shapes you more than willpower ever will. Here's a truth most people underestimate. Your environment is stronger than your motivation. You can be inspired in the morning, but if you return to the same environment, you will return to the same behavior. Same people, same distractions, same habits, same triggers. And slowly, without noticing, you become who your environment expects you to be. If everyone around you complains, you'll normalize complaining. If everyone avoids responsibility, discipline will feel strange. If everyone plays small, ambition will feel dangerous. This isn't weakness. This is psychology. Humans are wired to belong. Belonging once meant survival. So unconsciously your brain asks, will this decision isolate me? Will this make me different? Will this make others uncomfortable? And when growth threatens belonging, most people choose belonging. That's why breaking patterns often feels lonely at first. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something new. Why discipline feels hard and avoidance feels easy. Most people think disciplined people are somehow stronger. They're not. They've just learned something most people haven't. Discipline is not about forcing yourself. It's about removing friction. Stuck people rely on willpower. Free people design systems. If your phone is next to your bed, you'll scroll. If junk food is within reach, you'll eat it. If your goals are vague, you'll procrastinate. Your brain will always choose the path of least resistance. So instead of asking, how do I become more disciplined? How do I make the right choice easier and the wrong choice harder? That's how patterns change. Not through motivation, through structure. The addiction to distraction. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Most people aren't stuck because they lack opportunity. They're stuck because they're constantly distracted. Distraction is the modern escape. Scrolling replaces thinking. Entertainment replaces purpose. Noise replaces clarity. When you're distracted, you don't have to face hard questions like, am I living the life I want? What am I avoiding? What scares me about change? Distraction keeps you busy enough to feel productive, but numb enough to stay stuck. And the system loves it. A distracted person doesn't rebel. A distracted person doesn't reflect. A distracted person doesn't change. Silence is dangerous because clarity lives there. That's why most people avoid silence. The fear nobody talks about, responsibility. Here's the deepest reason people stay stuck. Not fear of failure, fear of responsibility. Because if you change, if you grow, if you succeed, you can no longer blame your past, your parents, your situation, the system. Freedom comes with responsibility. And responsibility is heavy. It means your life is in your hands. That's terrifying for someone who's been unconsciously outsourcing control. Staying stuck gives you excuses. Growth removes them. That's why people say they want change, but resist it when it shows up. Why? One day never comes. One of the most dangerous lies people tell themselves is, I'll start when things settle down. But life never settles down. There will always be another bill, another problem, another responsibility, another distraction. Waiting for the perfect moment is another pattern. And patterns don't break themselves. People who escape stagnation don't wait for clarity. They move toward clarity. They take imperfect action. They make small, uncomfortable decisions daily. That's how momentum is built. A moment of honest reflection. Let me slow this down for a second. Ask yourself honestly, what am I avoiding right now? What discomfort am I running from? What decision do I keep postponing? The answer to those questions points directly to your next level. Growth hides behind the thing you don't want to face. You are not broken, you're conditioned. This is important. If you're feeling stuck, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been conditioned. Conditioned by habits. Conditioned by environment. Conditioned by fear dressed up as logic. And anything that is learned can be unlearned. Patterns are powerful, but they are not permanent. How you finally break free. Awareness changes how you see the problem, but action changes your life. In this final part, I'm not going to motivate you. I'm going to give you a clear framework, something you can actually use. Because freedom doesn't come from understanding more. It comes from doing differently. Let's break the pattern. Step 1. Stop trying to change your life, change your identity. Most people fail because they try to change outcomes without changing identity. They say, I want better habits. I want more discipline. I want more confidence. But identity always wins. Your behavior is a reflection of who you believe you are. If you see yourself as, I'm lazy, I'm inconsistent, I always fall back, your actions will follow that script. So the real question is not, what should I do? It's, who am I becoming? Instead of saying, I want to wake up early, I am becoming the kind of person who keeps promises to himself. Small shift, massive impact. Every time you act in alignment with that identity, even for 5 minutes, the pattern weakens. Step 2. Create a daily non-negotiable. Most people rely on mood. Free people rely on standards. A non-negotiable is one small action you do no matter what. Not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are now. Examples. 10 minutes of focused work, 5 minutes of journaling, a short walk without your phone, reading one page, one uncomfortable task per day. It sounds small, but this is how you rebuild self-trust. When you stop breaking promises to yourself, confidence returns. Momentum is born from consistency, not intensity. Step 3. Design your environment to support you. Willpower is fragile. Environment is powerful. If you want to break patterns, remove friction. Ask yourself, what triggers my bad habits? What makes the wrong choice easy? Then redesign. Move distractions away. Make good habits visible. Reduce decisions. Discipline is not heroic effort. It's intelligent design. Step 4. Replace, don't just remove. Here's a mistake most people make. They try to remove bad habits without replacing them. That creates a vacuum. And the mind hates emptiness. If you stop scrolling, replace it with silence or reading. If you stop late nights, replace them with a calming routine. If you stop toxic conversations, replace them with solitude or growth. Patterns don't disappear, they transform. Choose what replaces them. Step 5. Learn to sit with discomfort. This is where most people quit. Because breaking patterns feels uncomfortable, boring, lonely, uncertain, and your brain will scream, this isn't working. That's a lie. That's withdrawal. Growth always feels worse before it feels better. If you can sit with discomfort without escaping, without scrolling, numbing, blaming, you win. Freedom belongs to those who can tolerate temporary discomfort for permanent change. Step 6. Measure progress differently. Most people quit because they measure the wrong thing. They measure results. But results lag. Instead, measure. Did I show up today? Did I keep my non-negotiable? Did I act like the person I'm becoming? Progress is invisible before it's obvious. Trust the process. The moment everything shifts, there will be a moment, quiet, ordinary, when you realize you're not forcing yourself anymore. The habits feel natural. The discipline feels normal. The old life feels foreign. That's when the pattern is broken. Not dramatically, but permanently. A final message for you. If you're listening to this, you're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because you've been living on autopilot. And today, you turned it off. That alone puts you ahead of 99% of people. You don't need to change everything today. You just need to choose one uncomfortable action and repeat it tomorrow. That's how freedom begins. Quietly, slowly, relentlessly. If this message spoke to you, don't ignore it. Do one thing today your future self will thank you for. And remember, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Stay consistent. Stay uncomfortable. And never go back to sleep